Hello and welcome to Midnight Readings. Oh, Pinkie Pie, you're such a sweetheart. Rarity was really good too. But Maude? At first I never really liked Maude. Just 'cause she was so bland and I was a bit more like, okay, not sure what to make of her. But still, I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed this episode. Especially the inkling that perhaps senses run in the family. More so than maybe we thought. Ooh. Anywho, in light of the last episode, I decided to read a Pinkie Pie, Maude and Rarity fanfic. However, finding that trio is kinda difficult. Very difficult, in fact. But I remembered an old story that I had read, and I thought, hi, why not? It's quite an interesting idea. So, here is A Mare's Best Friend, written by Bubblebutt. Enjoy! Why? Was the word lingering on Rarity's mind as she walked through Ponyville, heading to Pinkie Pie's home for a reason unknown to her. I suppose this is only normal for Pinkie Pie, she thought, amused. Maybe I should ask more questions. Her mind mulled over the little detail as she finally reached the home of Pinkie Pie. Skipping the bakery's entrance, she headed to the back, where she saw the door leading to the housing section of the building. Looking up and noticing Pinkie Pie's room, as shown by its colour stronger than even the bakery's own. That pony really likes her pink, she laughed to herself as she raised her hoof to knock. Without warning, the door opened ajar and out came a hoof, dragging the unsuspecting Rarity inside before she could notice what had transpired. Huh? Rarity blinked, noticing she was already in the building. What? Come on! Out jumped the Pink Pie, pushing a still lost Rarity up the stairs. Wait, Pinkie! Rarity cried out, her nose catching the faint smell of candy odour that Pinkie Pie's room seemed to have oozed out consistently. Ugh, she groaned, instinctively closing her eyes as she entered the room, receiving the full blunt of overbearing sweetness. Here we go! Honestly, Pinkie, you need to Her attempt at reprimanding her friend was suddenly stopped, noticing a whole living room sofa set, resting where Pinkie's bed used to be. I like what you did with this place, Pinkie Pie. Really? I did it on my own, she said excitedly, jumping on one of them. Yes, sure, but what are the couches here for? Wouldn't you like to know? Pinkie replied, staring blankly. Yes, I would, Rarity answered flatly. Oh, why didn't you say so? Pinkie said, jumping behind one of the couches and instantly jumping back out with her mane tied back in a bun. You see, I'm here to reunite you with someone you seem to have forgotten, she said in a mock attempt at Twilight's voice. Rarity blinked once, suddenly chuckling to herself. Whatever do you mean? I don't have any pony like that. Rarity, said Pinkie with a disappointed tone. That's just mean. You never forget your friends. What? Rarity said, taken back by her tone. Stop this foolishness, Pinkie Pie. If anything, I'm still friends with any pony who hasn't been unpleasant to me. Ruffians do not count here. That's not what a certain some pony behind the curtain thinks. Pinkie Pie said, pointing to a small curtain just beside Rarity. And pray tell, what is behind that curtain? Your friend, obviously. Right, Gummy? She said, as the small alligator appeared, jumping in place and catching a small rope, which raised the curtain and revealed the one behind. Rarity remained silent, her mind having shut down momentarily as she processed what she was staring at. Pinkie? Yes? Is that rock what I think it is? She said flatly, staring at what was clearly one, a big rock at that, choosing to ignore the question of how it got there to begin with. It's Tom! Pinkie stated, jumping on the couch placed next to Rarity. And it's a boulder, actually. Say hi, Tom! Tom says hi! Tom. The memories of Discord's first return came flooding back, hitting Rarity like a rock to the face. That analog is not helping. Tom wants to be friends with you again. I mean, you two used to be rock solid. Pinkie said with a grin, fluttering her eyes at the ever-so-silent Tom. I thought we promised never to speak of this again, Rarity reminded her. Speak of what again? Pinkie Pie, we were only together for a few hours. Rarity continued, going between emotions as she tried to cope with the absurdity of the situation she had been placed in. And besides, how do you know Tom wants to be friends with me again? Her, of course! Pinkie pointed casually beside Rarity. Confused, she turned to one side, only to notice a pony sitting on the last couch right by her. Oh, she said in understanding, noticing a familiar rocking pony. Maude? Rarity. Maude replied stoically, getting off the couch and moving beside Tom. All right, Maude is here. Rarity sighed, taking a deep breath and choosing to humour the pair. Look, just what exactly does Tom want from me? I'll ask him, Maude said, looking at Tom. Maude? Shh! Pinkie whispered. She's talking to Tom! Maude nodded, turning to the pair. Tom says she wants closure. Pardon? One of Rarity's eyes twitched, taking in what Maude was saying. Maude, honestly, Tom is just a rock, darling. He can't communicate. Maude turned to look at Tom again, shaking her head. Tom feels offended by your broad generalization, and he wants an apology for that, as well for ending your relationship with him as suddenly as you did back then. She explained. I don't follow. And what relationship? She said, confused. I was under Discord's influence. I didn't know what I was doing to begin with. We were never a thing. Rarity! That's really mean! Pinkie said in disbelief. You can't pretend that your friendship never happened! Rarity fumbled. Dear Celestia, she pleaded, unable to deal with the surreal experience she was being put through. Okay, look, what do I have to please you, Tom? Maude looked at Tom once again, nodding. All Tom wants is to move on, to put the experience behind. She explained. Do you understand? Not in the slightest, Rarity thought in disbelief. All right, Tom, she began, knowing full well what had to be done. I apologize for what I did. I never meant to treat you like some sort of throwaway item. Neither then nor now. I suppose I was, dazzled by your good looks, and I was blinded by it, so to speak. Maude turned to Tom, staring at him for a good minute before replying. "Tom accepts your apology," she said with a small smile. "I'm not going to argue." "Thank goodness," Rarity sighed in relief, shaking her head. "So, are we done now? What will happen now? What about Tom?" "He's going back to the rock sanctuary Maude overlooks," Pinkie Pie explained, coming up behind Rarity. "He's going to propose to his sweetheart." She jumped on Tom, tapping his head. "Aw, he's so embarrassed. That's adorable." "What?" "And now Tom can start his own family," she continued, taking out a notepad. "Ooh, the party's gonna be great!" "What?" "Boulder will be content that he can be Tom's best rock," Maude said seriously. "I am ecstatic to tell him when I return home." Excuse me." Unable to take any more, Rarity simply walked out of the room, going downstairs, moving through the bakery itself, and walking out the door, standing just outside with an expressionless look, just to let it out for a mere second later. What in ponying Tartarus just happened? And that was A Mare's Best Friend, written by Bubblebutt. I admit I like this one. I can imagine Pinkie and Maude doing something like this after the events of the first time Discord tries to take over the world. But, it would make for a funny episode. Or at least a very good short. Anywho, I can't wait for this week's episode. Cutie Mark Crusaders, awesome! Oops, spoiler alert. Anyway, I'll see you all next week. Stay brony!